Good evening and welcome to the Dumfries Icebowl in Dumfries. We are here for the Scottish Curling Junior Mixed Doubles Championships, and this evening I have the pleasure of being joined by David King. And how are you doing, David?
Not bad at all. Looking forward to a good game, hopefully.
Absolutely. Now today, this evening, we have featured the team of Ryan McCormick and Kirsty Barr playing James Craik and Lisa Davey. Looking from the setup, it seems that yellow do not have hammers, so it seems that Lisa and James have won that draw shot challenge. So we're here for mixed doubles. So the difference is, for those at home who might not know, with mixed doubles there are 5 stones that are played only. One player plays the first and the last stone, and one player plays those in the middle. So we can see here that Kirsty is playing first and last, and that seems to be the traditional format. Seems to be the way. And with this first shot, they'll probably just try and take control of this forefoot. And as we see coming into the house there, she's just tapped that back, and if she taps that right out of play, it does go back. So the difference, again, another rule is that the first 5 stones at the end, you cannot remove any stones in play. So it's a bit different from regular curling, that you cannot remove any stones in play rather than just those in the guard zone. So have you played much mixed doubles or any mixed doubles yourself, David?
I haven't played mixed doubles. Club curler. Yes. Club curling, but
I think there's good mixed doubles runs in the family, though. Is that right?
It is, yes. My son's the current Scottish champion, yes. But no, I'd quite like to have a go sometime. But I think I need to improve my draw weight to actually do very well in mixed doubles.
Yes, I think we've heard from quite a few of the players that it is the draw weight that's so important. And not having that draw weight is actually can really hurt you. And as we see, Kirsty obviously was heavy on her first. They had first practice, so that could be kind of what it was, and that can make a difference just as the speed of the ice increases. And even there we see Lisa slip just a little bit deep. I think they'll probably look to freeze on top of this, David. Do you think?
Yeah, hopefully she'll have adjusted her weight. These ones are all quite experienced, but the first stone is very difficult when you've had a 10-minute gap without playing. So
yeah, no, absolutely.
I'm sure she'll have adjusted now.
I think there's a little bit of a difference of experience on these teams. Lisa and James, they're 17 and 16, a little bit younger. They're still really experienced in the four-person game, but they have seen that they did have some success at the CCT here 2 weeks ago. They went through their group stage 5-0. Undefeated. They did lose out in the quarterfinals to the Czech champions, Heiko van Paul. They finished 4th at the Worlds last year, so I don't think there's no shame in that. Whereas Kirsty and Ryan have played. They played last year in the junior mixed doubles, but haven't had much experience outside of that, and they were quite open about that as well.
But they're all experienced curlers.
Yeah,
it's under 17s, under 21s, and all of them have done very well this year.
Yeah, absolutely. So Lisa and James were skips of their respective teams who won the overall under 21 slam, and both featured at the Scottish junior finals. Ryan was part of Calvin Kinnear's team, who were runner-up in that juniors, and Kirsty played 3rd for Lisa. So actually we have a bit of an interesting team dynamic with that as well, that you have kind of teammates turned rivals, so to speak. I think that's quite interesting.
It's never a big issue in the curling. There seem to be many people. They can play together as teammates and against each other, and it's friendly rivalry, I would say. But
absolutely,
it seems to work well.
See here, James is electing to draw around these. We've not seen as much finish coming off the centre. There's been really good conditions, really good speed. Coming kind of out to in, but when you do that in to out shot, coming away from the centre line, there isn't quite as much finish, and again just a little bit heavy. There is a pocket here, but it would be quite difficult for them to draw in. We see, looks like Ryan is lining up for a bit of a hit. He's going for a hit through the port. Just cut to this angle, you'll be able to see it coming through the port, and he is going to spill too and lie quite frozen. I think that's a good result for him, David.
It is, definitely. Ryan's obviously plays second normally with his rink curling, so he's used to big hits at times and peels, so it'll suit him. But no, it is a good result, and it's almost frozen onto the blue.
Be interesting to see. That was the first hit that we saw, and it did run really quite straight. We'll see if Lisa and James keep that in mind. and we'll see what ice they go for here. So this is James's last stone. I'm not sure if you've got any thoughts on the order in which you'd play. Both these teams have the woman in the team throwing first and last. Do you think that seems to be the accepted way? What are your thoughts on that?
I think most teams seem to do that way. I think it's probably because the men have a better speed for the big hits.
Yeah.
Which the middle of the game, if they need to clean things up, they're more able to do it, and the girls can bring off the draw with the last stone. It tends to be trying.
James is just over curling here, and he has clipped that guard, which is really the first miss from this team. So we'll see what Kirsty elects to do here. She could, I think, it'd be a good option to just half cover that yellow, leave the right hand side showing, or the left hand side, sorry, as we look at it. If I just move to this other angle, you'll be able to see that that guard just off the centre line is covering the blue stone, but the yellow is fully exposed at the minute. But it doesn't look like it's a massive. There won't be a big end for either team at this stage. There aren't very many stones in play. See here on the lineup that Kirsty is to the right of the picture as we look at it, and a lot of that is to try and push the stone away when she's sweeping. A lot of directional sweeping does come into things now. Obviously, all fabrics are standardised. The WCF fabrics are used here, and this does look like it's running on.
Plenty weight here, yes. It is.
I'm not quite sure. Is he just line one? Yeah, it does look like it's just one yellow at the minute. It will be a nose hit for 2. He asked both teams what their favourite thing about mixed doubles was, and they were all saying they really enjoy the stones in play. They really enjoy having to make those draws and to think. But they did say that was also one of the biggest challenges, was that there are angles that can really, if you get them wrong, can really hinder you on that. So
certainly from what I've watched, it's totally, the tactics are totally different, and the big ends are far more common as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you almost have to be more resilient as a player, because normally if you did lose, and you see him hitting, rolling, and he does catch that one and push it out, and that will be 2 blue to start off. They do say that. Oh, have I got the number of stones wrong? I may well have done. Apologies about that. I was convinced that Kirsty played that. Obviously, there's 1 stone more to come, so I'm getting ahead of myself. This is a good position though for Craig and Davy. They're sitting 2 quite separated. I don't think there's a double on there. Maybe a double for perhaps if Ryan was playing it, but I'm not sure that Kirsty will elect to take this on. She may hit the open one, or she may just draw. Looks like. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what the call is here. Unless.
Oh, it's a strange.
Yeah, I don't really.
I don't think the raise was the call somehow.
No. Well, very strange call, and now there'll be an open draw for 3. Or an almost open draw for 3. You just need to get into the 8-foot. Yeah, as I was saying, I think you do need to be more resilient as a player. That if you were in the team game and you give up a 3 or a 4, you went 3 or 4 down, you would think, oh, this is a bit of a lost cause. But it just simply isn't the case in mixed doubles.
No, you don't see handshakes with 2 or 3 ends to go when they're 4 or 5 down. Whereas so watching the Worlds this week, stopping at 7 ends,
6, 7 ends. Even I think there was one that stopped 7-2 with 3 ends to go. And that was that. And it is that way in the men's game, particularly. I think with the accurate run backs that are made.
Yes, there's always a chance of a 3 or 4. Quite often they happen in the mix. So the game's never over till it's over.
especially with the power play, which hopefully we'll come on to and be able to discuss. It does bring an added element of offensive play to it. Yeah, this looks good. They're just cleaning it in, and Ryan isn't interested in sweeping this one out the back, and that is a score of 3. As we say, things are certainly not by no means over at this stage. And earlier in the game we had there was a 3 to start and somebody stole a 1, and then there was a 4 right back, so that was then appeals after 3, and so I think you do just have to concede that could happen.
As long as they keep their heads up, but I think before them here will get enough experience to not worry too much about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Lisa said that her favourite curler was Bruce Myatt, who of course we know is probably one of Scotland's strongest mixed doubles players, probably one of Scotland's strongest players.
Yes, no doubt about it.
But we've been talking previously on the other games about the things that mixed doubles has brought to his men's team, and that they are not afraid to call those soft weights and those kind of tap backs and things like that, which is really nice to see. Do you think has Fraser discussed at all with you things that maybe influence him in the men's game from mixed doubles?
Not a lot yet, but to be honest, he never played mixed doubles until he went to the Scottish Championship. It was a new experience for him.
Absolutely.
He actually had practice the night before,
and that was that.
That was that. Apart from odd times in juniors when the 15-year-olds here, Dumfries, but
this is from my experience, coming up short is really not something that you want to do on this first stone. You've given a double guard to your opposition. It's slightly staggered. If they can wrap one around, it'd be really difficult for you to move those. So there is some early warning signs for Craig and Davy here. We'll see if Kirsty is able to put one round and they can take advantage of this. Ryan looks a little happier with this weight as he's wrapping around. It does look to be moving. Yeah, I mean there has been a lot of swing. The centre guard is in position 2. Which is the second closest that it can be, so that kind of goes to show just how much swing there is. But that has led to some really good aggressive mixed doubles play. So is Fraser very excited for the Worlds then?
He is, yes, excited and apprehensive obviously as well, but he's up in Stirling all weekend this weekend, training and getting coaching, playing against the Spanish pair who are obviously very experienced. They're over at the moment looking for practice because they don't have ice over in Spain, so there's 2 or 3 games against them this weekend, and I think the McCleary's as well will be there.
Yes.
Obviously Jude's going to be coaching in Ulster.
Yes, Judith McCleary is going as the team coach, and I think is David Aitken going out as a bit of a helping hand.
He's going out there because his wife's in the senior ladies.
Yes,
coaching them, and he's going to be on hand to help out wherever required.
Good.
Mixed doubles as well. So plenty of experience there. He's been obviously coached Bruce and Gina for many a success.
I think they've 4 or 5 times they've won they've won the Scottish mixed doubles. So let's see, James here is going to tap this one back, which is, although a good result, that is there is a lot of space here. This is quite an open house. I mean, we're talking.
Would have preferred the freeze if we could have managed it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think with a nice check in behind these corner guards here, it's not often that we see corner guards in mixed doubles, particularly outside of the power play. But I think it could be quite easy for teams to forget that you can still use corner guards in the same traditional way, and that is still a good option. See this one cutting in. Unfortunately, James has decided he's moved out of the way, which is good. And that has tap back. It just seems that draw weight perhaps is evading them slightly, but I'm sure that will improve as the game goes on. I think that Scotland have Spain in their group at the World Mixed Doubles. I think that is, which makes those friendly games maybe a wee bit more interesting at Stirling this weekend.
Yes, it will, but I think they'll put the friendly games to the side when it comes to the real deal.
Absolutely.
Certainly, it'll be interesting to see just how they can cope over there.
I think having played a World Juniors, Fraser might be more confident about going outdoor next
certainly will help him, because even the media coverage, getting mic'd up and cameras on, you get used to that. It's a different.
I've talked a lot to people about that, and some people don't think it's a very big deal, but I think the first time you do something is always going to be slightly unknown or slightly apprehensive. So I think having done that through CCTs and through World Juniors and that kind of thing, I think it's all a help. Now again, James Craig just a little bit heavy here, and although he's bumped that back to a freeze, which I would imagine that yellow really isn't going very far for the rest of this end. It's probably not going to spring out of the rings unless there's quite a heavy shot being taken here. And it does leave Ryan with another chance to kind of hit and roll behind this corner. Just looking at the front on view, that blue is almost fully exposed. Would you be playing a kind of hack weight hit at this?
Yes. It's full weight. Yes, he's got a control weight. So he does that.
See, even now they're sweeping because it does really move at the end. You can see here just coming in, and there's a nice finish on the stone. No, he's not quite caught enough of it. He's moved it out, and they do sit first, maybe third shot, I think.
First and third, I would think, yes.
Just move to the head. Now a lot of these stones are back tee, and we had you and Kyle as a bit of a guest commentator in the last game, and he said that any stones back tee just kill you because one good freeze and the end's away, and that is the position that Craig and Davey do find themselves in at the minute.
Obviously Ewan was the runner-up last year in the next doubles, wasn't he?
Yes, he was with the same team. It was Naomi, and they played Ross and Sophie, and in fact they were in the same group, and they too qualified, and Ryan and Kirsty were telling me that they were in that group as well, so
makes it difficult.
Yeah, they said they did all right. They last year there were wins, losses and draws, and they had a appeal against Sophie and Ross, and they lost to Ewan and Naomi, and that unfortunately was them done. Yes, it does. Is it going to drift past this back one? If it does, then this will open the door a little bit. He has just rubbed off. It is fully under cover, or nearly fully under cover. I would show you the front angle, but unfortunately both players are standing firmly in the way. Ryan is considering his options here. He's not sure what a bump will do. Again, if he does, it is absolutely possible to bump these stones and move them, but as we'd said before, it does leave everything back tee, and if Lisa is able to make a good freeze, it could be very difficult for Kirsty to do anything. I think that angle gives you a really good appreciation of what Ryan's going to see in the hack here. You can't quite. You can maybe see half a stone.
I don't think you'll see even half, but
am I being optimistic?
But there's enough bend there that a nice controlled weight will.
Yep. You see Kirsty just cleaning this down.
Yeah, he's just playing.
It is really coming now, and it does look like it may catch this guard. Will she be able to get it by?
He's not.
Just ticked, and you see here Lisa is sweeping it right the way out of the rings. That was a really nice weight. I thought it was a really nice weight choice, but just unfortunately not enough ice. Now Lisa has an opportunity to put the pressure on. We were discussing earlier how quickly some of these ends can seem to change gears, and you go from walking the tightrope of maybe giving up a 2 or a 3 to all of a sudden you have a good chance to steal 1 or even 2, and that really is the position that we're in at the minute.
Yeah, if she can put one top 4 here just behind the guard, and certainly forcing a 1 at worst for her.
I think when you leave your opponent a draw to the button, you've always done quite well.
You have. They should be getting a handle on the weight now for a draw to the button if they have to.
There's a fair bit of margin for error here for Lisa. I think if she errs on the short side, it should be fine. If she blocks that up, they're probably going to force into a different path, or to be a bit wider. To something that maybe
sweeping hard.
They are sweeping hard. It does seem to be moving quite a lot. If she is by, it looks like this will finish in a good spot. It's just up to James now to place it in the perfect position for depth.
An excellent shot, that.
It was an excellent shot. She has finished pretty perfectly at the top of the board, just on the side of the button, and as Ryan taps, Kirsty is going to have to draw the button.
No option. And hasn't even got the backer now.
No. I think if she comes right to the back, and then she will give up a steal of 1. And this is quite an interesting thing, I think, that playing first and last. So Kirsty in her women's team, junior women's team, she plays third. So she's not used to playing the last shot, and that can be quite an interesting thing. The first shot is definitely, well, the first shot I would say is certainly a staple of kind of the Leeds repertoire. You know, the draw to the top 4, they would kind of be expected to do that most ends. But with that, they would never be expected to do a pressure shot. So it's that mix. I'm not sure what you think the kind of best fit is in terms of a traditional rule for. You know, would you want to lead in a skip, a front end, a back end? You know, what would be good?
I think we need 2 experienced players who can play every shot and play under pressure.
Yeah. Ryan is sweeping this, and it looks like Kirsty's just going to rub off. Is she going to roll too far?
Still on a 2.
That does look a steal of 2. And Ryan isn't particularly pleased with that one.
They had to sweep it for line and just turned up slightly too heavy.
I think at the end he was pushing a little. He was kind of pushing the stone, as we would say, with his directional sweep, and I think he recognised it was heavy and was trying to catch as much of the one that Lisa had just played as possible. But that is 5-0 now. You know, I wouldn't be surprised. It doesn't look like they're going to, but I wouldn't be surprised if Ryan and Kirsty elected to play a power play here, even just to kind of change things up, keep the 4-foot open. But it doesn't look like they do that. I know, unfortunately, I have been in the position where I'm 5 or 6 down quite early in a game of mixed doubles, and I have done that. Sometimes it's worked, sometimes it hasn't. But just changing things up sometimes can be quite effective.
Yep. When they haven't played it, neither have played masses of mixed doubles. It's difficult to know just what advantage the power play will give them. You know, it's a different game for them then, and different ice to read, and it can make it difficult.
Absolutely, we'll see Lisa Davies start off this end. We saw in the last game, Katie Jackson and Hamish Gallagher, after the first end, they swapped positions. So Hamish then went to throw first and last, which obviously is an option available to these teams. I think most of the established teams would have their positions and stick to them.
Working hard on this one.
Yeah, working, and she has just caught. That's a short
really ice yet, have they?
No. We shall see. And it looks like Ryan has moved, actually. Ryan is now playing first and last. It was almost as if I noticed.
Must have heard you speaking.
Yeah, he must have heard me. I promise we're not being piped into the arena. I think, in my experience, I have switched in a game, and when you are struggling with your weight, that first and last position can be really difficult, and the 2, 3, 4 just give you a chance to maybe try a few more shots and that kind of thing. But that's a really poor shot from Ryan, unfortunately.
But I know from personal experience, if you struggle with your weight at the start of a game, it can take a long time sometimes to actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
Other games you go into, once you get your weight straight away, then there's no problem.
You could play them all day.
Yes.
Those are the good ones. Those are the good ones.
Don't happen enough though.
Of course not. I was chatting to. I was playing the Perth Open this week, and the way it worked was there was a series of 4 end games, and over 2 nights. And the first night we were struggling a wee bit, didn't do so well. Team dynamics weren't really working very well. The next night we won all of our games, and everything was fine. And my teammate turned to me and he said, "Oh, winning's a lot easier. I think we should just do that."
be trying here.
Yeah, McCormick and Barr are still sharp. It'd be interesting to see whether James wants to kind of put the pressure on by drawing to this back one, or what else he will try. It seems just from his...
He's certainly not got ice for drawing round.
Might be going for a little tap.
Coming through the hole.
Interestingly, had Ryan swept that one right out the back, it would have been replaced. And we can only hit now.
Not sure if that back one's still biting or not.
It's difficult to tell from this angle.
From through the window, it's not biting.
I think that the key thing here for Kirsty and Ryan would actually be to move that top red. They've elected to draw right round, which I really am not a fan of. If they can move that top red and roll in behind the corner, there are more options available to them. They're keeping space available in the house, but with another miss, I think they really just haven't had a handle on the ice.
It's just unfortunate to switch position in the first stone she has to place, draw weight again.
They could hit. She could have opted, and maybe wasn't a kind of hit on, but that kind of hack weight on that blue, I think that would have been a good. And if you opened the centre guard and rolled into the house, that's still a good option. I think some teams perhaps forget that they can hit, and it's interesting seeing some of the juniors that are less experienced and maybe will learn that.
Trying to draw right to the button here, then?
I think so. There are a couple of options here. You know, he can draw right to that one. He can tap his blue in. A split even isn't bad. If he rolls in behind the corner, we'll see. I think
he seems happy with the weight.
James isn't particularly happy with the line, I don't think. Does seem to be running on a little bit, maybe just a little bit heavy, and he has just breezed by now. Maybe just slightly heavy. Ryan and Kirsty have both remained down there, and I think this is quite... I wouldn't really recommend this, to be honest. I think that you need somebody in the head to even just to see what the situation is, because the angles and the distances might not be quite what you think.
You never know when a stone needs swept either.
Well, absolutely, and we can see them here just having a chat at the far end, but it would be so much more effective if it was at the end that had the stones in the house. I think we'll put that one for the debrief, maybe.
We will. But it's maybe trying to save energy.
Yes, save energy. The teams aren't on time clocks, but the umpires will be keeping a vigilant eye. I believe some of these teams were slightly slower this morning, shall I say, but they've been reminded and have improved as the day has gone on, which has been great.
Watching the mixed doubles at the Olympics, the time clocks, they're actually
it's very tight. It is tight.
The hard work, you see some of them coming off, they've put in a hard shift.
Yeah,
it was very tight for time.
There were comments that were made about how great it was that it was so quick though. So it's an hour and a half, an hour and 45 minutes, and you're done, and that's nice for a kind of television audience. See here, it looks like Kirsty is going for a bit of a tap, which I really like. I really like that call.
Looks like a nice angle.
No, it's not. Oh dear. Oh, she was maybe just going for the draw. Well, that's not bad. They do lie too. There is the opportunity for a double. It's a bit of an angled double. But I think maybe if this team considered some more upweight shots, they might find some more success, particularly in these ends. Anyway.
When we're talking about length of games, I see this talk of reducing the main curling to possibly 8 ends. It's a proposal that's being discussed at the moment to try and make the games a nicer length.
Given the there's a couple of things at play. I think given the mixed doubles and how quick it is, there is the question, do we need things to be 3.5 hours long? but also there's the fact that now we have a 13-team World Championship. There are 12 games. Just see, this looks to be a little bit high, and he has just forced it across the top. And 12 games, 10 ends each is a lot. Having spoken to Tony Zumac, he said that the thing that they really needed to keep in mind was what he described as the 3 in a rows. We were playing an afternoon game and an evening game in one day, and then you were back on the next morning. Or if you were playing in the evening and then the next morning and afternoon, and that does happen. So those can be tough, and I think a lot of these guys are really fit, but it is still a grind, and I think it's more the mental drain than the physical drain. It will be discussed, but we'll see. We'll see what comes.
Yes.
There's the cynical view that 10 ends gives more breaks for advertisements, but
but if you're trying to attract people to watch it and maybe haven't been as involved with the sport, then you certainly can understand the reasoning behind it.
Fortunately, Kirsty does slip through. She really has struggled with her draw weight, and even kind of coming into that 2-3-4 position in the hope that maybe she'd be playing some hits. It just
hasn't worked.
It hasn't worked that way at all. It looks like Lisa's going to try the kind of raise or tap. Oh, James maybe is just tapping the forefoot to come there. Not quite sure what the call is.
The last stone, isn't it?
It's the last stone for this team, yes. It can be interesting when there's discussions at the hack and maybe we don't quite know what the call is. But I think at this point he had tapped to the button, so I think that will be the call that they will draw right there. And this...
It's not James Bloom, is it?
Sorry, Lisa, yes. Yeah, so if he made the call, does she have to do it? That's really... I think one of the interesting things, and certainly in my mixed doubles team, we elect someone as the one who will call the game. So that I'm fortunate enough that is me. But I think it helps. You talked about time, and it helps with that time. That there's someone whose primary responsibility is to call the game, so you're not having big long discussions about every single shot, which can just drain your time. And at the world level, it seems that she's playing this run back. She looks to be a bit tight. And she has just rubbed and rolled almost out of the rings.
They have to draw to the 8 feet further too, but they've still to do it.
Absolutely. Their draw, as we say, draw weight hasn't really been their strength at this point, so we'll see how Ryan manages.
They could do with a 2 back this end to get them back in the game.
Absolutely. Just saying, at the world level, of course, if you do run out of time, you lose the game, and that is quite a severe penalty.
I've seen it happen once, and it was at a juniors, actually women's juniors game, so a few years ago, where they actually somebody ran out of time. But as soon as I've ever seen it happen,
I saw it. I was at Bray Head watching the Europeans, and I nipped over into the club. Oh dear, she's sweeping this to try and hold it straight so she doesn't push this in for a shot. She will wick off. Will it roll in for a shot? Lisa's going to try and get it right the way, but that does look like it's 2. So we might have a measure. I love a good measure. You see, there's a lot of decisions.
Well, it's not made measured anyway, so we will find out.
We will find out. I'm going to call it 2. I'm going to make that.
I think you're probably right.
We shall see. I'll just get the scoreboard up so we can hopefully see as soon as they put the score up. Yes, that is a 2 for yellow. At Bray Head, it was in the European B division, and it was France against Israel, and they were playing an extra end. And I don't know how you run out of time in an extra end, because you get 4.5 minutes, which is, I think, more than enough time to play then for thinking time. But anyway, and off they went, and the French skip came pelting down the ice through his last stone, but was timed out, and he left the last stone. And the umpire just stopped him at the hog, and he was shouting after his sweepers, and the umpire just stopped him and said, "You've run out of time. This is, the game's done."
There has been 1 or 2 in the World Championship I've been watching, where they've been down to 5 or 6 seconds when they actually crossed the tee line.
That's very, very scary.
Pressure.
You see a switch back here from Kirsty.
She's got the guard again.
She has caught the guard, which isn't a great result. It does leave a guard off centre that James and Lisa can use, and James is electing to use that. I think that's a very sensible decision. Lisa has wrecked on a couple of her first stones, come up short on one of them as well, so I think she'll be looking to try and get draw weight locked on as well. James is close to this, sweeping a little bit.
Doesn't look over worried. He's sweeping harder now. No, it's not. She was a smoke.
Yeah. Is it going to grind down? It seems to be going a little bit. They don't really want to leave a pocket. Oh, goodness, that really slowed just at the end. But that's a pretty good place. Yeah. Just have a look from the front. We can see that there's definitely less than half a stone showing at that point anyway down the centre. Ryan has just let go of his stone. See Kirsty come into shot here. I'm not sure what the call is. There'll be some kind of freeze or tap. See here. He's just bump and roll off, but I think that's a pretty good result. I mean, there is the potential to pluck it out of the hole, but it is in the 4 foot, and there's something for them hopefully to build on.
Yes, I think Ryan will be quite happy.
Yeah. There are a couple of options available for James and Lisa. They could choose to corner freeze this one. They could choose to hit it now. The only issue, I guess, is if you hit it now, you do give your opponents that opportunity to make a better freeze. At the minute, if you did corner freeze it, it would be quite a vulnerable stone, and your opposition would have to do something about it. So I think that would be my preference.
Especially when you're up in the game as well.
Yeah, they do have hammer. I think, you know, we restrict the score, and we talked previously about giving up steals of 1, and I think that if you give up a steal of 1 in this situation, it's really not the end of the world, especially if you're chasing a 3 or a 4. James has got Lisa on the whole way here. I'm not sure. Swing a lot. They seem to be trying to bump it off the other side, which I don't know if I like that, if I'm honest. It seems that yellow still is shot, and if Kirsty or Ryan, sorry, can lock one right in, and now Ryan has decided that he's going to come up and take a look.
If you can freeze one right in the button here is...
I used a phrase with David Ramsey earlier that he wasn't too fond of. I said, if he freezes one in, I'll have its pipe and slippers on. It's not moving for the rest of the end. I think even a little tap, you know, just moving that the blue back a stone or less is okay. I think they need to make sure that they're there, and that's the fine margin that comes to mixed doubles when they've been struggling with their draw weight and they don't really know what it is. You know, that can be.
Certainly not quite much gap between the yellow and the blue.
Absolutely.
The right shot for the blues so much easier.
They need to make sure. Oh, this is really moving. I think they're probably going to end up on top of the blue, which is awful.
It knocks the blue.
Okay. I think James and Lisa, they do have hammer. And the thing I always try to remember when we have hammer is that we want to try and create space in the house. We want to try and, you know, move things. So in this situation, I think I would be quite happy with a hit or some kind of a hit. I think that there is an in-off there that James is electing. That's quite difficult, I think. But a freeze is good, but the problem with the freeze is you're probably never going to score more than one. And if you do play the freeze and your opponent's freeze on top of you, I think the in-off is really quite thin. So I think I like. I was going to say I like what Lisa's nominating there.
Almost comes in and freezes on the yellow then.
Yeah, well the blue might kick back and kick the yellow that's currently shot left as we look at it, and as I say, give them a bit more space. You might lose that one at the back of the forward, but you know, I think it is worth it. For all that, I'm not sure what they actually decided on. So we'll maybe see. Cut here. We can see Ryan and Kirsty are having quite an involved chat. They might just be trying to think what they can do to try and get into this game and try and get their draw weight. That's a good look at what Lisa or James can see. I think that you can pretty much see the whole stone, so I definitely would be playing some kind of, maybe not a normal weight, but a kind of barrier control weight to try and move some stones. Yep. Oh, he seems to be going after this. He's going after this in off. We'll see what happens.
That's a good result.
I think that's worked for him.
See that.
I don't think that's quite what he wanted, but it has done something. It's difficult to tell from here. I think that yellow is still one. Yellow does still lie one, and at this stage, yellow could hit the yellow at the top of the 8 foot and try and go. Let's see. Oh, they're maybe even thinking about the guard at this stage. This is an interesting call.
To hit the blues there, you just wouldn't know
where they'll quite go. I don't know if I'm just naive, but I don't think that left-hand blue is ever going back onto the yellow. But difficult to tell, certainly. Guards are quite tricky on this ice. They've found that the wider they've gone, the more it's come back in. There has been really good ice conditions for this tournament, which is really great.
Last night, yes, it was
swingy,
but they were almost horizontal at the end.
Yes. How did you get on? You want a drink?
We want a drink.
Yes.
It did go down to the last two. It was Peels in the last end. So it was a good game.
Well, hard lines.
Good game.
I think that was my old university's club motto was winning drinks since 1969. That was the way we looked at the game anyway. Here.
They've been working hard over the last few weeks to get the swing on the ice for.
Yeah.
Well, for the mixed doubles 2 weeks ago and then again this weekend.
See here, I think that Kirsty just wants to be over and off here. The more she sweeps at the end here, the more it will move. She is just over the hog line. I think so.
The angle down a bit.
Yeah, and if nothing else, it's in James's eye as he plays this, which might just tempt him to hit it or tempt him to wreck on it. This is coming down.
I'm not sure what the angle of the cruise is if he was to tap up or just to back right weight on his blue.
On his blue on the left of the picture as we look at it.
Yes.
Yeah, I wonder, because you would have to be so tight, you would probably be hitting it a little bit high, which might make it spring off the one on the right hand side. I think that's what you mean. And that could almost be disaster, because you could leave a double or a triple, all of a sudden you're facing 3. Here comes James. It does look like he is playing a bit of a tap weight, so he is trying to do the shot that you had nominated, David. Sweeping hard here. If he does hit the yellow,
it's just a nice controlled weight though.
Here it comes, and Ryan, of course, is right in the way.
It's finished up. That's not sure on shot yet though.
It's difficult to see who's shot, and I'm not sure if they're
not sure themselves.
I think if they hit that on the nose, their yellow stays on the blue that's just at Ryan's feet. And just cut to this other angle. You can see that whole blue. If they hit the blue, the yellow will hopefully stay. The blue goes across the top and out, and they may even
possibly lie 3.
Lie 2 or 3, which was the danger with that shot, but at the same time I think it was something that James and Lisa had to try if they were going to try and score in the end. Even as Ryan's nominating here, catching it a little bit on the inside would make them roll in, and they could even kick that one on the right hand side of the 4 foot out of the picture. It's difficult to tell.
James, I think, has always got a hammer, so it's...
Yeah, James does have hammer, which Lisa could be facing quite a few here in her last. It's difficult to tell at the minute who's, well, first of all who's shot, but who's second shot. So
Normally they got last time out, I think if they were lying shot they would possibly do the same again.
yeah.
Certainly not helped.
Certainly moved something. It looks like blue is certainly lying 1 at this stage.
This is more like your typical mixed doubles end where it's a right girdle on the 4 feet.
Absolutely. The angles here, I'm not quite sure if there's an opportunity for more than one here.
I can't get inside of that one. Just back wing weight.
Let's just look at the front camera here. Lisa's standing in the way, so we... Oh, there we go. Oh, goodness, that is...
Certainly can't see much of it.
I don't think I can see anything of it. Not from, certainly not from the right hand, or the righty's back. Looking at this, it's... I mean, I think there is such a big finish on this ice. You probably can just chip in off, and I don't
needs
think,
a back 4 weight.
I don't think there's any harm in trying this. There's nothing. I think if they were to come the other way, you know, if they were hang wide and hit that yellow onto the blue that is shot, they might end up in a not great position. But I think this, there's no risk on this.
He is leaving Ryan ahead in his yellow there to take the shot away. Sorry, I was getting myself confused.
You see Lisa here with
Last
hammer. Yeah. So they do have one, and that will see them take a 6-2 lead. I wonder, to start the second half, we will see a power play, or whether... I know some of the teams, for instance, the Olympic gold medalists, John Morris and Caitlin Laws, used one power play throughout the Olympics. So... And one of the things that the umpire did remind the teams this morning was that they can use a power play when they have the hammer once per game, but they do not have to. And I think Lisa's calling James on. He seems to have already overcurled that guard, so there's 1 blue. And at the halfway point, that means that we have James Craig and Lisa Davey leading by 6 points to 2 over Ryan McCormick and Kirsty Byrne.
So the opportunities for the power player getting less now.
Yes, that is one of the things I told the story in the previous game, which I still think is a great story, so I'll tell it again. Is that at the Budapest CCT, the Swedish team, Noreen, were playing against the Russians, and the Russians were the scores were level, and the Russians had hammer. The Swedes had already taken their power play, but the Russians hadn't. There was no stones in the house. Come to the last stone, but there was a Russian guard a couple of feet short of the rings. And in mixed doubles, of course, if you blank the end, you don't get anything for it. You don't retain the hammer. So rather than score 1, to draw for 1, Per Noreen, who's the male player, he elected to tap the Russian guard in. So he gave up one. They didn't have the opportunity to use their power play, and then they scored 2 in one game.
Certainly an interesting one.
It's certainly not a traditional approach. I'd probably say if you told your skip in the 4-man game, I think we should tap their guard in so we could have hammer. I don't think they'd be very impressed.
I think there's something to be said at times for having people that are dedicated to mixed doubles and don't play traditional 4-rank curling. And I see that more so from some of the Slovakians.
Yeah, certainly the Swiss. I think the Swiss are quite
disciplined.
And I think that's probably a decision that will be made at British Curling, whether they want to continue the men's and women's programme and a mixed doubles programme with separate athletes, or whether they want to mix and match. See here that there's wrecks again from both sides, and I think they've swapped again, and I think neither team really, especially the first player, has quite a handle on the ice. This is a really difficult situation, I think. If we just cut to the front view, you can see that those stones are pretty much the width of the 4-foot, and that is your draw path. I think it's going to be really difficult for anybody to get a draw in there. You probably would be looking at tapping something, and even if you open it up, that at least gives you another route in. While they have this discussion, we'll just do a bit of a roundup of some of the other games that we have going on. So at the minute we have Naomi Brown and Ewan Cotton are playing Beth Rowley and Struan Carson. They are 3-3 after 3 ends. And Ballantyne, Team Ballantyne are playing Team Bryden. Team Bryden are winning that one 3-1 at the moment. And Carrick and Henderson, if I can only see the first end at the minute, which is two shots to nil. Maybe see if David can look out the window and update us. We'll get to that one anyway. So in our feature game we have 6-2. We see James Craig about to play his first stone. After a bit of a chat, it does seem like they're going for some kind of a tap on this widest blue. Just caught that high of nose, and we see here coming right the way back and tapping that yellow, and that is a really excellent shot.
Perfect shot.
Exactly what he caught.
It makes life difficult for the other pair now. The yellow's not lying in as nice a position to tap up.
They could of course try and replicate it with their yellow guard, I think I should be saying. Or at this stage, I think I would probably be in favour of hitching something. There are 5 stones in play. Let's clear up the front. Yeah, there's probably a double peel available on those blues. Again, Kirsty is throwing the middle 3, so I don't know if she feels as confident with that way.
She's certainly not playing hit weight here. She's trying to play a tap on the yellow, I think. And just drawing too much.
That, just given where that finished, it didn't really look like enough weight to tap it perhaps where she wanted, so it would have been a combination of that and perhaps just not leaking enough ice.
That's opened up the draw now though. Possibly. There's not a lot of room with the way it curls at the end.
Seems funny saying that it's a tight port when there's a couple of feet between them, but you do almost need to scrape past the inside of that yellow, the kind of left hand side of the yellow as we look at it, to get to the button. You might need to play it with tap weight just to come to that back one.
They were talking about a guard here, but whether that's their final decision, I'm not sure.
I think a guard is pretty negative, really. I suppose they are 4 up, but it wouldn't be my call. I think it's so hard to guard on this ice as well. We mentioned in the previous game, it's so much easier to draw around the guard than it is to guard that's already there. So we shall see what happens here. Ryan's looking at angles as the stone's going on. It does look like it's going to overcurl, but if he just catches this pretty full, he has opened a port there. It would an even narrower port. But there probably is a hit on through
There's definitely a hit through the port.
Just have a
reasonable weight.
There we go, for a little view there in the front. There is a hit there. You probably want to come on the out-turn side there and just catch the inside of it and roll in. That way you'll avoid the one at the back. Then you can sit too and hopefully try to build a bit of an end. Because if you do score 2 or 3 here, that would put you right back in the game. It does feel, again, as we talked about earlier, it feels quite strange saying that it's 6-2, you're definitely in the game. But it's just the nature of mixed doubles.
Get more than one here, though.
Absolutely. Seems to be curling here. If she gets past the guard, that'll be pretty good. May have been slightly overswept. Does jam at the back there, and that back one does go. There's the same issue here for Greg and Davey. That they will need to be wary of that, because if they jam, then that gives the opportunity back to their opposition. With that ice that James is suggesting, I think we will see a considerable weight here. You might just be picking it right out.
And even if the blue goes at the back, it's
that's not a bad thing for them. Their end plan here really has to be limit their opposition to one. If I was them, I'd want to do that, take my power play in the next end, and then hopefully see some handshakes at the end of that, but maybe that's being optimistic.
But James can certainly throw with some weight.
Seen him kick off, and it looks like a nice weight, not huge, not a kind of pale weight, but definitely a nice controlled hit weight. Waiting for it to curl, and it's just coming on now. Looks like it may jam at the back at the minute. Has he just got it past?
It's an excellent stone.
That's an excellent shot. And the great thing about that, if we just switch to the front view, you can see that the stone is just edge on edge with that guard, which makes it quite difficult. I think there still is a hit and roll behind the corners on the left-hand side of the sheet as we look at it that Ryan and Kirsty will probably play. That's certainly what I would have liked anyway.
It's the only option they have really for this.
Yeah. Playing through a port is quite hard. This one looks like it's curling a lot. Goodness, I'm not sure if she had helped it on its way, so to speak. And that is a really difficult position now for this team. I don't know if there is a way in at all, really.
That's certainly the call now anyway, James.
I would say so. There are only 2 stones left for each team this end. If they put a guard on, they're going to the Cormac and Bard are going to have to try and rip something, or hopefully rip more than one. Send some granite flying and kind of see what happens.
The one yellow in the centre line at the moment to bring in, so if they can cover that one.
Yeah, you would always prefer to send in your own stones in your opposition, but sometimes you don't have a choice. Lisa's coming to the guard. She's playing the in-turn side, so that for her is coming down the right-hand side as she as we look at it. I'm sorry, the left-hand side as she as we look at it. James has switched sides to try and make this girl. I don't think that it will need any help, as we can see now. It's
suddenly goes.
It's
like it's finishing.
Put the indicator on and just gone hard to the right, but that looks like a really good result.
It's finished.
Fully blocking that yellow, so that's really terrific from Lisa Davey.
So we have to open things up somehow now.
Yeah. I think if you hit this one fairly hard. It is going to go somewhere. Again, I think it might be behind on the stone count. Let's see. Let's have a count. 1, 2. Yeah, there are 5. There are 5 blues in the rings. Apologies. So this is the last stone of the end. So he is going to try a double run, even a double run double, to try and score 1. So this is, it's going to be quite hard. I think Kirsty's just trying to get out of the way of this one. And here it comes, and he is high. Let's see where things going to bounce. Does end up being, I think, 2. I don't think that top one is in the rings, is it? Maybe 6 foot measure. No, James has kicked it away, so that does look like a steal of 2. And that is a score of 8 to 2, I think.
It will be a struggle now.
Yeah, it will be a struggle, but if they score, if they take their power play. Yep, so it looks like Ryan is indicating that they will take their power play. Is the score gone up on the board? Yes, it is. It's
so we'll see how they
handle the power play.
Yeah, and how they play it tactically.
So those watching at home, the difference in the power play compared to the regular end, we see that there is a corner guard in play now rather than a centre guard. And as Ryan positions this stone, the key thing for the team with hammer is that this stone has now moved to the front of the tee line rather than the back of the tee line, and that's quite a crucial difference. It sits halfway in the 8 foot and the 12 foot, and James just checking with the umpire there to make sure they were getting that right. Our team of umpires are here all weekend. They've been doing a really great job, and we might now see my favourite shot in mixed doubles, which is the tick on the corner guard.
Yes, I've seen that played. I can't remember. I think it was the Olympics the first time I saw it. I was quite amazed, and when you think about it tactically, it's very clever, extremely clever.
Yes, so you can't remove any stone, but your shooter can roll out of play. So the object here would be to hit that guard on the right hand side as we look at it, roll your shooter out of play and push that into the rings. It's a very difficult shot, and it seems that Lisa has elected not to play it, and instead she will play the draw. We have seen less finish on these stones coming from in to out, so we'll see if that's the case.
This is where they've got totally new ice to read from what they've been playing the rest of the game.
Absolutely, I think that's the challenge.
Just too heavy, is she?
A little bit heavy, and she's going to chap off.
That's not out though.
It's not bad, and the thing here is that they cannot hit. Yellow at this point cannot hit, so they are going to, I assume, elect to come in around the corner guard. They'll be just trying to pile as many as they can in behind that corner guard, and hopefully, leave Ryan a double or something at the end of the end to try and score a big one. Sweeping. Kirsty is sweeping furiously here. Is she going to get a nibble of the rings? She can just get in. That's a good result for them. They are standing in the way, so we can't go.
Biting, no.
Not biting. It's not too bad though. It is splittable if it came to that, but it's still not exactly what they would have wanted. The frustrating thing here for James and Lisa, once again, they cannot hit, and they cannot remove any stones. So this is an aggressive situation for them. I think coming around the corner guard is totally fine. They could try and split the rings and put one kind of on the left hand side of the house as we look at it now, and just force their opposition to 1 or even 2.
If they can get behind the corner and lie first and second, it's a good pressure one.
Absolutely. They seem to have read the ice quite well. With their placement of the broom for the first one, but Lisa there telling James we need to take a little bit more ice. Of course, they were a little bit heavy, which did keep the stone a little bit straighter. So we'll see how that affects things. Quite a bit wider now than Lisa, so we'll see as it comes down the sheet. was sweeping it initially.
It's from the bending now.
She's happy with the weight here. It's all there. It may slip behind the tee line, and that wouldn't be great if they set up a pocket here. They want to just keep it on the nose of this one, and that's a pretty good result. There is a double there, perhaps a double and roll. So we will see what Kirsty likes to play here. Just having a chat about where they'd want to take ice. Do you think as a player, David, you would prefer to have a target to aim at, or would you be comfortable aiming it into the abyss, so to speak?
No, it's certainly easier. Easier having a brush. If you play pairs mixed doubles,
yeah,
you have to play without your brush at times, but it does.
Yeah. This looks
pretty focus on something else.
That is a really good shot there from Kirsty.
And it's rolled behind the corner.
Yep, that's a perfect shot. That's exactly what she was asked for. I think that's probably the hit she's been looking for 3 or 4 ends playing in
She hasn't had many hits to play. It's been draws she's been asked for. But no, I was saying I usually try and find something to fit my elbow behind the rink, and then suddenly somebody will move and stand in front of it. Or
you're aiming at a fire extinguisher or the edge of the board or something. Absolutely.
I think the more you play, you get used to it. Playing mixed doubles all the time and adjust.
This is a bit of a tricky situation for Craig and Davy. They are 8-2 up, but if they were to give up a big score, a 3 or even a 4, that would be difficult for them, or would definitely kind of put things, the cat amongst the pigeons, so to speak. I'm surprised they're not hitting here. There is a corner freeze that will take away those yellows, but in firing this yellow back, they would probably catch one of the ones in the house. They haven't
played.
Look like they are going hard for line. Does look like they are just going to bump a little bit, but that is a pretty good way.
Oh, it's just absolutely perfect stone. That's what he played, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's exactly what he'd asked for. Shows me. It's quite interesting every so often to say, oh, I think he's wide, and then they make it perfectly, or I think he's heavy, and then it really sits down. See here up at the hack end. Yeah, I think she'll want to try and, if she can, just scrape past this yellow at the top of the rings and just release the yellow from behind the blue. But if she does catch the guard that is at the top of the rings and split in, as we talked about earlier in the end, that's still a pretty good outcome. It seems that it's just not quite moving like they want it to. She is. That's not a bad result. She now has taken kind of control of that angle. She's sitting in front, and she'll be able to, if she wanted to, she'll be able to hit that one, and then hit that one and lie 3. James and Lisa, I think, are quite aware of the danger of this stone, and they're trying to
looking at a freeze or just a slight rumble round.
Yeah, they seem to be wanting to freeze the kind of right hand side of the yellow as we look at it. As long as they're in for second shot position in that line, I think that would be quite a good outcome. The other option for her, should she want to play it, was she could hit the one on the wing.
This is James playing.
This is James. Oh dear. It's the 5th game of the day.
It's a long day. I'll wait till it comes to the next game.
Absolutely. But yeah, so they could hit the one on the wing, but that is a fresh patch of ice, so it could be dangerous. So see here, James urging his sweeper on. You can see it starting to bend here, threatening to go near that, but it looks like it's okay. It's just going to nuzzle things around, and that's
finished up.
It's pretty perfect. That's pretty much exactly what he wanted. He was able to play down to the same line twice, and he was pretty happy about it. Ryan's coming for a look here, trying to see where he wants to hit this stone. I think if they did hit it on the nose, both blues could go. And that seems to be what he's indicating. The only question, I suppose, is where the yellow would go.
He's worried about the front blue jamming on the outside yellow there, is he?
Yeah, that's true. I was just looking at the back blue, because the back blue obviously goes under the yellow, but I wonder if that front blue would jam onto the yellow. If it goes across the top, then I think they have to play it anyway.
They've got to go for a big end this end.
Kirsty made a really good hit on her last one, so we'll see if she'll be able to replicate that now. Ryan's close to it sweeping. He's now sweeping quite a lot, and it does look like it's moving.
She's caught it though.
She's by, and she's...
Oh,
goodness,
not what she wanted.
That didn't react like I thought it
did not. I think she possibly just got too much to the right hand side.
Yeah, just needed to catch it just nose or higher, and that unfortunately,
by the guard.
That unfortunately has put them in a really difficult position there. Sitting 2 against now, and Lisa has one to come. It's really
in the front. Would be tempted just to split the house here.
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe the old-fashioned ring curler.
I'd be doing the exact same thing. I'd be putting it on the 8 foot on the left hand side and saying I'm sitting 3. Draw the button. I think they're maybe just wary that the only shot here for Ryan to play on his last is on this yellow. So they think if they put something in the way of that, then he's definitely going to have to draw the button, which isn't easy.
It's not an easy shot for Ryan, regardless, even before they play this.
Yeah. Which, in a way, I don't know maybe if it's cynical of me, but I would say, I'm happy for you to play that and see what you can do. I think if they put one on the left hand side of the 8, they're not going to get more than 1 as far as I can see.
I did actually notice in the World Championship the Canadians actually asked the third to throw one through the house at one stage. They couldn't make any better, so Bushu actually asked the third to throw it through the house, which I've never seen before. But
no, not well. There of course was the. Are you familiar with the 2009 Men's World Championship final? So it was Kevin Martin against David Murdoch, where that's exactly what Kevin Martin did. For those at home who maybe haven't seen that, we definitely get you to watch it. I think it's a really interesting end of curling. But on Kevin Martin's first stone, they take 2 timeouts. They spend minutes upon minutes talking about this shot, and then Kevin Martin utters the infamous words, "What does he do if I don't throw?" And he says, "What if I throw it away?" It's a very nice guard, and that's they've really read this line well in this end. And I don't know if Ryan's lining up some kind of crazy shot, but I think to draw to the button is the only thing he has really. But
he maybe decides that draw to the button, he can't win the game with one here.
Yeah, that is totally fair as well. Kevin Martin, as I was saying, just says, "What if I throw it away?" And he does. David Murdoch makes a nice run back, makes him make a double, which he doesn't make, and they lose the World Championship. So I guess it's one of those situations that if you make it, or if you end up winning the World Championship, then it's a masterstroke. It's like, I think Louis van Gaal in the World Cup, after extra time, brought on a goalkeeper just for the penalty shootout. You know, that kind of thing at work. They won the penalty shootout, so he's a genius. But if they'd lost it, was what you doing?
Take a gamble.
Yeah. So
I'm not quite sure. That must be a
triple run back,
yellow onto yellow, double takeout.
Red, yellow, red, blue. Yellow onto blue, onto yellow, onto yellow, onto 2 blues. Hope it doesn't jam, and maybe score 3. There we go, and he's got one. He's got one, and I think the gallery up here are quite appreciative of that. They did give a round of
wasn't so far
applause.
away from what he tried either.
No, I think, and there is handshakes have been given here. I think, as you'd say, they can see that with a 1 they can't really win the game at this stage. So
7-3 after 6 ends.
8-3 after 6 ends.
8-3, I can't even count.
It's the counting or the eyesight. That's the one. So yes, we will be back at about 9 o'clock for our final game of the evening, which will see the team of Duncan McFadgen and Leanne Mackenzie play Adam Kerrin and Molly Keane. So thank you very much, David, for joining me for this game.
I thoroughly enjoyed it, and thank you for everybody that was watching.
Yes, absolutely, and I hope that you'll join us for our next game. Thank you.